We all like to think we get wiser as we age and that the habits of our 20s and 30s have improved in our 40s and beyond. Well, that same logic should apply to our savings and retirement planning. So today we're going to focus on that pre-middle-age decade of our 40s. And for that, we're turning to Cory Sickles, owner of Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors. Good to see you, Cory.
Glad to be here, Robin.
All right, so you say retirement planning, which many people put, like, obviously I'm retiring around 65 or so, put it in that decade of life, but you say it really does start earlier than that. Our 40s is a good age, I guess, to focus, right?
You know, obviously, if you could save in your 20s and 30s, that's always great.
Yeah.
But 40s, you have to really, I'll kind of tell you this, 60s get here before you think about it.
Before you know it, yeah.
And 40s is really crucial. And actually, I think it's one of the toughest times to save because you probably have a family.
Yeah.
Now you have kids. Now you're trying to save for college. You have a mortgage, and you might have some other type of debt. But it's so important to be able to save.
All right, so how much? Be realistic about this. Give us a number. How much a percentage should we be saving when we are in our 40s?
Well, what I would say is you want to try to save between 10 to 15% of whatever your income is on an annual basis. Now, if you want to say, because a lot of people come to me and they'll go, hey, am I on target to be able to be where I want to be? Mm-hmm. And normally what I would probably tell you is you want to be about 3 times of whatever your earnings are going into your 40s. So if you make $50,000 a year, hopefully you have about $150,000 saved up at that point.
Okay, so that gives you a good range.
Right.
All right, so you also say, I know that, you get a raise. Say it's, a couple percent, like you might think, should I save that? I need that money. But how much is worth saving when you do get a raise at work?
Well, I think you should always save as much as you possibly can, right?
Yeah.
The tendency is, I think a lot of times is, I make more money, I'm going to spend more money.
Sure, it's easy to do that.
It is. It's very easy to do that, and I think really the thing to be able to focus on is if I receive a 3 or 5% increase in my salary, then I should be increasing my savings by 3 to 5% as well.
Okay, all right, so put it there. All right, should you prioritize paying off debt? Many of us put that as like, yeah, should I do that first, or saving for retirement into our 401k, into some kind of account?
Well, I think there's a balance of that. You don't want to throw down all your money where you're paying debt down where you're not also saving as well, right?
Okay.
And it's a true balance, right? You might have some debt. I mean, kids are expensive. You're probably trying to save for college. And I really think working with someone that you trust that can show you on how you can kind of do all those things and still be able to, live the life that you want to be able to live in your 40s.
So then let's talk about that as far as the goals, as far as your investments in your 40s. What should you be focused on? We often hear about once you're in retirement, kind of the plan, but what should you be worrying about when you're in your 40s?
Well, at this point in time, you still have time until you're going to need that money. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with being, moderate growth. Or that's more like 75% of your money could still be invested in stocks.
Okay, now, so more risk.
It's more risk. You're saying, yeah. Now that's at the beginning of your 40s.
Yeah.
Rolling into your 50s, if you're in your late in your 40s, you might want to start thinking about maybe changing that back down to a balanced type of investor as well.
Okay, kind of balancing it out. Okay, and so healthcare costs are another big thing, Cory, and we've talked about this in retirement. People not really realizing how extensive that can be.
Yep. So you need to really plan. Here's the way I always look at it. There's a lot of different types of products out there. Part of it might be some life insurance that we call hybrid, which means it could be death benefit, but it could also be used for long-term care for later on in life. That's one part of it. So you can be able to look at that. But another part of it is if you can actually contribute to an HSA plan, that's a great way to be able to save for medical expenses later on, or if something would even happen, 5-10 years from now you have access to some cash, for that health issue that you might be having.
Cory, how do you feel about the future of Social Security? A lot of us worried about it in 20 years running out.
That's now if you're in your 40s today, obviously it's going to be a different situation compared to the baby boomers, right?
Yeah.
Will it be there? I think, yes, I do think it'll be there. Will it maybe be exactly the way it is today? That could actually change. I think they're going to have to make changes on that. But here's, I think, the key for everything is even if you're retired today, Social Security shouldn't be a huge part of your overall income plan.
Of your plan, yeah.
So yes, we can plan for that to be there. Do we have to modify it, 10, 15 years from now? Yes. But don't expect it to be 80% of your income. You want it to hopefully be around 20 to 30% of your income in retirement.
So you can function if Social Security does change. If something happens, you've got your nest egg.
That's exactly right.
All right. So then you say, really, the sooner you can start saving, the better. And the sooner you have a plan that you can look ahead to all of these years, the better. So if you don't have someone to help you do that, of course, you can reach out to Cory and his team, safeharboroh.com. They've got complimentary consultations. They can sit down, hash out, even a second opinion, right?
Yep.
Great to do that.
Yep, no problem. Second opinion. Here's what I always say. If you don't have a plan, let's put one in place for you. And again, if you do come and meet with us, there's no financial obligation. We can just go our separate ways.
There you go. All right, but get a plan any way you cut it. Cory, thank you so much.
Thank you, Robin.